This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go to if you want to set up your own slick-looking website or online store. Bokeh, not really something you associate with wide-angle lenses, but if you've got really large aperture and can focus really close up, then you can certainly have a bokeh buffet, and that's what you can do with these Sigma wide-angle lenses. These wide-angle ones are just what you need to get super close up to your subject and throw all of that wide-angle background completely out of focus. Certainly these are not new lenses, but I've just released a video on the Sony 2070 about 2 weeks later than everyone else, so why not talk about an even older lens? So what are they? Well, these are Sigma's DG-DN lenses. DG means full frame and DN means for mirrorless, obviously. So basically they've made the lens form factor more suited to mirrorless, not the huge heavy lenses that were more suited to DSLRs. This one, I should take the battery grip off, shouldn't I? Yeah, there we are. Much better balanced for mirrorless cameras. Not too long, not too heavy. Just about right. They are two mirrorless lenses done well, both outside and in. So with these Sigmas, you've got an aperture ring, you've got little switches here, and then of course you've got filter thread on the front, but you can also put filters in the back. Now I have to admit I'm a bit of a third-party lens snob. Nothing wrong with them, I quite like some of them, like the Sigma art lenses. I just don't buy them. But these two lenses, and especially the 20mm f1.4, which is a bit special, might change things. Because this is something that Sony doesn't offer. They've got the 20mm f1.8, which is small, compact, lightweight, and it focuses a bit closer than this.
See how close I can get up to that. I'm practically in your face. I'm on your face. I'm in your head right now.
But it doesn't go to f1.4. This does. That's 2/3 of a stop faster. Alright, it'll make a little bit of a difference for getting slightly faster shutter speeds in low light, but really, for a bokeh haul, it makes all the difference. Besides, now standard zooms go all the way to 20mm. If you're going to use a prime, might as well make it a bit more special. Okay, let's mount this on tripod and start filming with this as well, shall we? Because one thing I'm a bit worried about with third-party lenses is that when it comes to focusing for video, not so hot. Which is nice, and they focus very close. This is, let me show you. I mean, basically, your focus is so close, the lens is just going to block the light from your subject. What? Focusing for stills is fine, but for video it seemed a little bit slow at times, but in the end, it got there, and accurate too. Sure, the Sony 24mm f1.4 is probably a bit better, and then the Sony f1.8, well, it's hard to compare the 20mm f1.4 to that because you're buying this for the extra speed. And the bokeh! Don't get me wrong, I really still like the Sony. It's a great lens. It's $900, but for $100 less, there's the Sigma 24mm f1.4, which is a full $600 less than Sony's 24mm f1.4. For the same price as Sony's 20mm f1.8, you can get Sigma's faster 20mm f1.4, which after 3 months of use, I find myself coming back to again and again. So yes, back in October, I went out and took some photos. Not for long because it started pouring down. As you can see there, my C70 all wet. So yes, these lenses are weather sealed, hopefully. But just check that out. From this lens, the 20mm f1.4, the bokeh. It's so scrumptious. Can't find any fault with that bokeh, or that's right up close to the camera. That must be close to minimum focusing distance. If you look at the lines on the bridge and the railing and then the trees in the background, they quite often present some problems when it comes to bokeh. It's so smooth. The bright bits, the specular highlights, totally fine. But there's one thing with the bokeh is that you can see a bit of spherochromatism there. That is in front and behind the plane of focus. You can see slightly different color fringing. But look at the in focus parts, they're really nice and sharp. Another shot, not quite so close up. So even when you're not operating at the closest focusing distance, you can still get some nice shallow depth of field shots there. And it seems like as you move slightly away from the closest focusing distance, the bridge bokeh, that's what it should be called. Bridge bokeh should be called bokeh. The bokeh in the background there starts to become a little bit more pronounced. But look, the tree bokeh, the trokeh, looks fine. Look at that sharpness. It's really nice. It's lovely. The point is, the Sigma 20mm f1.4 is Bokehliciously. Distortion is kinda low and wide open at f1.4, it produces some super sharp shots from the center through to the mid-frame. There's a slight drop off in the peripheral parts with some vignetting, but really quite reasonable for a fast wide like this. The Sigma is stellar. Perhaps more stellar than the 24. Chromatic aberration, spherochromatism. What lens is that? Oh, that's the 24mm f1.4. I see. So that's got the 24 1.4 is nice and crisp right in the center of the frame there, but the bokeh, not quite, in my opinion, not quite as good as with the 20mm f1.4. In my opinion, again, it could be far worse, but that's certainly not completely smooth. Still, not everyone will want a 20mm, it's just too wide for some, and a 24mm is a great performer too, just not as amazingly sharp throughout the frame as a 20mm Sigma. But look, you could argue that if you're going to be shooting at f1.4 most of the time, you're probably not going to notice too much of that softness in the corners anyway, but for that price, it's still incredible value for money when you compare it to Sony's more expensive 24mm f1.4. These are two fantastic Sigmas for not too much in a nice sized barrel. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you want to set up your own domain, online retail space or website, it's super simple to get started and make your next move with Squarespace. With an easy to use interface filled with loads of templates and backed up with 24/7